The collection and analysis of behavioral data can assist in maintaining a positive classroom environment for all students. By thoroughly keeping track and analyzing student behaviors, educators can gain constructive insight into the needs of students and where there can be intervention. Educators can be sure to intervene when a negative pattern is trending before it escalates, proactively addressing issues instead of reactively. On the other hand, educators can use data to acknowledge appropriate behavior to ensure that children feel empowered and can help all children learn what appropriate behavior looks like. Educators can also ensure that expectations are being met by tracking. Perhaps an educator implements a behavior chart and keeps track in the open for all students to take notice. This allows students to take accountability and responsibility of their own behavior and will more often maintain a positive classroom environment. Three benefits of three different methods of documenting and organizing observed behavioral data, with one being a technology tool, are as follows. Currently, my school district uses a digital platform called Teaching Strategies Gold. This platform allows teachers to input anecdotal recordings of 38 different objectives. Anecdotal recordings are real-time, brief summaries of targeted student behaviors you've observed throughout the school day. This platform automatically takes all of the educator's recordings and it creates a developmental profile of each child. This helps the educator to know what to focus on to best help the child grow and learn. Behavioral charts are another great way to document and organize data. As mentioned previously, when you openly track behaviors, all students can take notice of when good behaviors occur, and that allows students to take accountability and responsibility to make a better decision. Everybody wants to be recognized in a positive light, and this is a great way to maintain a positive classroom environment. This would also be considered as collecting frequency data. This can be collected per day to total it at the end of the week, or even at the end of the month to earn a privilege or a prize. Lastly, an educator can look into conducting review or attendance and other school records and look for patterns that may indicate a cause for concern, as this could suggest that a student may need additional support. Of course, the educator may want to analyze such data with the school guidance counselor or psychologist to ensure there is a sign of concern. A couple factors that might influence or hinder accurate behavioral data collection. Observer bias. Educators may unintentionally impact data collection by interpreting behaviors through their own bias. Educators need to remember to observe and collect the facts of what is actually happening in real time without bias. Inconsistent documentation. Behavioral data collection should not just happen during the same time or only on specific days, as this will not give a good snapshot at the child's behavior overall. Educators want to ensure the child's data collection is being done during different times to indicate it is not just one subject or area that doesn't interest the child. Limited time constraints. Often enough, educators have limited time to observe and track data, as many classrooms have many students and schedules can run very tight. Due to this, perhaps data collection may be rushed or incomplete or may not include fine details. Educators need to make their data collection process seamless and use technology to make these documentations quicker and more efficient. Collaborating with families in the process of collecting data about students' home environment and family dynamics is vital, as the educator can get a well-rounded understanding of the student's home life and challenges that may present themselves. For example, perhaps there are external factors that are present, like housing instability, socioeconomic status, transportation issues, etc. The educator in school can work with the family to set them up with the family resource personnel. This can alleviate some of the student's stress and help the family seek peace and assistance. Another example could pertain to the family's dynamics. Perhaps the student's parents are going through a separation, and this is causing the child stress and the ability to exhibit disruptive behavior. The educator in school can provide the student with a school psychologist or counselor to engage in therapy. This can help the child to learn how to manage their emotions and allow the student to communicate with someone regarding their feelings and perhaps even learn tactics to progress. Lastly, another example could pertain to cultural differences, like the child coming from a bilingual home and the child experiencing difficulties in language development. The educator in school can provide language support or bilingual resources to help the child progress. All of these scenarios allow educators or schools to work with the families to better support the students' academic success and emotional well being, which is a direct link to their behavior. I will work with families to create common behavioral goals for young children in both the school and home environment by creating and fostering our relationship from the start of the school year in order to build that trust. I will also be keeping in consistent communication with families by setting up all families on Class Dojo. It is so important to keep these lines of communication open and provide the child with consistency so the child is aware that everyone is working together. Once the lines of communication are open, trust is built, and the areas of improvement are identified, we can begin to set clear goals for the child. Perhaps the child is working on sharing at home and at school. We can give the child achievable goals, such as sharing toys for 5 to 10 minutes with classmates and siblings. We would then need to discuss consistent strategies to use, like sharing a chart for positive reinforcement or timeout procedures for getting out of hand. We would all need to monitor and set up regular check ins to see how progress is coming along. We all need to support each other, and if needed, there can be additional resources for the family. Lastly, it's important to celebrate the child's success and encourage consistency as the child improves his or her behavior. The collection of behavioral data would differ between birth to preschool environment and the kindergarten to grade 3 environment, considering the developmental stages of the children. Also, how the data collected can differ. For birth to preschool, collecting data is more observational. Educators observe a child for different parts of their day every day. They can take real-time observations and input them into a database that helps the educator to analyze the child's development. That being said, a child's behavior in birth to preschool is significantly motivated by their physical skills as well as their social and emotional skills. We focus on social interactions, emotional regulation, and fine and gross motor skills. In kindergarten to grade 3 environment, teachers are collecting data based off checklists, academic behaviors such as staying on task, organization, etc., or their social behaviors such as conflict and resolution with peers. Our elementary students are more developed and complex within their cognitive, social, and emotional skills. Therefore, data collection is more specific within a more structured environment. Educators can use more standardized tools to evaluate a child's academic process or behavioral goals. The collection of behavioral data differs between children with and without exceptionalities. When collecting behavioral data of children without exceptionalities, the process would include collecting data by performing observations of the student as well as collecting information from the family or other colleagues that have worked with the student. When collecting behavioral data of children with exceptionalities, we need to take into consideration the student's unique characteristics. Perhaps this is a child with ADHD or autism. This would require frequent and structured observations to track and observe the behaviors. Perhaps the child is nonverbal. We would need to use other communication methods, such as sign language, PECS, etc. Teachers would need to take into account environmental factors or sensory inputs that may trigger such behaviors for children with exceptionalities. Lastly, just as with children without exceptionalities, we would also need to collect insight from the family as well as other colleagues or specialists that have worked with the student. Thank you very much.